magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast.
How we all doing? One day late of Halloween. Almost worked out that way. How we all doing this Saturday night? It's the Transformers Slag Podcast Saturday live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday. It is Saturday, although you didn't hear me Monday because I came back from TFcon. It was a fantastic weekend in Chicago. For all that were there, we will definitely talk about it tonight. Show some cool stuff that we got. Shout outs to a whole bunch of gifts and crazy stuff. Guys, I wish I could show you. There's just tons of stuff here from all the peeps. It is just fantastic. Next time it'll be during Halloween. Oh man, that's gonna suck because I want to be able to give candy to the kids. I'm gonna have to get Sandy to take care of that then. Oh man, where's Butters? Butters is around. He's chilling. He'll come by later. But yeah, how we all doing? Again, if you're new to here, my name's Proto Man. I run the madness here of the Transformers Slag podcast. If you were at TFcon last week, it's a little bit of this and that. Doesn't sound like me. Well, I lost my voice a little bit. The thing about when you do conventions like I do, and this goes all the way back to the old BotCon days, I'm a talker. And because I'm a talker, I have to talk above the octave of whatever is going on in the con to just communicate with people. So when you talk all weekend, it just goes away over time. No, it's not leftover candy. Actually, you know what's funny? Like, I was worried that this year, because here in Montreal, it was raining like crazy. It was like raining like crazy. And I was worried that the kids were not going to show up. And nope, they showed up in droves. We ran out of most of our candy. Usually what happens is we have some leftover candy and then we kind of just keep it for ourselves. But this time there was like almost nothing left. It was pretty crazy, the turnout. Some people might have saw my post about that. The one kid that always comes by in a Transformer costume who's always cute. So he came by. There was a lot of kids. The best costume, honestly, though, was a family of 4 that was all dressed up like Naruto characters. You had older Naruto, like Hokage Naruto, if you know what I'm talking about. Older Sasuke, 10-10, that's a deep cut. And I think the last one was, who's the guy who messed with sand? Forget his name. And that was the other one. And I was like, wow, that's some dedication. There was a lot of good ones. There was a lot of ninjas, like just regular generic ninjas. Didn't see any Star Wars stuff this year. Last year there was a lot of Star Wars stuff. Very cool though. Very cool. I have like a security camera on my door. I don't want to obviously post it because it's, their own privacy, but I'm pretty sure if I went back I could see all the different stuff. So very, very cool. Anyone dress up as Shy Guys? That would have been cool. Shy Guy's an easy one. I love Shy Guys. I have a whole Shy Guy figure collection. But yeah, so let's get into the news. We got a few things to cover. We're going to cover some of the news. We're going to update on that. Talk about what we got this weekend because we got a lot of really cool stuff. We'll talk about gifts. We'll do shout outs to people because there's a lot of cool stuff to shout out. And we'll just take some super chats and chill for the evening. And I am back. For at least for the time being until, I don't know, let's see, Japan, probably in the near future. And maybe, I guess after that, the next big show would have to be TFcon in LA in next year. So there might be some smaller shows in between that, but hopefully that won't affect our regular scheduled program. But who do we got in the chat today? Let me take a look yet. We got Michael Koo. Saw you last weekend. Awesome seeing you, man. We'll definitely mention you in a few of the things here. Got James is here. We got Clyde. We got Timmy K. Who else do we got? Fawnhart. How you doing? James. There's Michael again. Oh, I see. Tommy. Tommy's there. A little Tom Laney. J.R. Mina from the Philippines. Timmy K again. There's Cringe McCringle. What's up? Y. Will Murphy, Horned Owl, who we also saw at the con. Didn't get to see you for long, brother, but you were rocking the merch I saw. The actual Great Horned Owl. which is pretty cool. I could appreciate that as a kid who liked owls in grade school. Ashnud is here. What's up? Patrick Brown, James Hopkins. I just want to make sure I don't miss nobody. Roman is here. Everyone's slowly piling in. Bigum, Media Max. What's up, Media Max? So let's get into it. Let's get into the news. Then we'll get into the cool stuff, and then we'll just chill. We'll just relax. TFcon was a blur. It really was, but that's always how it is, man. And and again, the rumor and innuendo, you don't want to hear it from me, is that it's probably going to be extended to a 3-day show in the future. Chicago was really busy, but we'll get into that in a moment. Welcome, Big Easy, to YouTube membership. Thank you for joining. How is the Blue Jays game going? I'm very curious if Canada is going to win another National Baseball World Championship. And then we could say we beat Otani, who's been on an absolute wrecking stream. So I'm not a big baseball guy, but I pay attention like I always do. But yeah, let's get into it. Then we'll talk Chicago in a moment for sure. We'll definitely get into that, especially everything else. It's starting right now. Rudy Mack. Thank you. What's up, Rudy Mack? Okay, so I'll probably catch some of it later, maybe. So let's get into it. So let's talk about first some of the stuff that was going on. What's up? Yeah, Young is here, fellow Montrealer. So first we have the Transformers timelines, feudal Japan set. Nate mentioned at the last New York Comic-Con and their live stream that the MCM London Comic-Con was going to have this revealed. And true to fact, here it is today. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little underwhelmed by what it is. I almost feel like this is almost more about what potentially they could do with these toolings later than what they have right in front of us. So it's just something where it's like, okay, Flying Squirrel B, sure. Warthog, Megatron, okay. The head sculpts are nice on the robot mode. You got the Naruto ninja headband, Bumblebee, and the Oni kind of design. Anyone who saw Dino King back in the day, it was an old kids Pokemon-esque kind of cartoon. The main character kind of wore a headband helmet kind of like that, like a Dino Oni. So it kind of reminds me of that with the fangs. Okay, I guess. But I mean, I'm seeing more like Beast Wars repaint, retools, and Animal Pretender stuff. I mean, something like Night Glider, aka Darkscream, aka Gildo from Car Robots with the Bumblebee, and Snarler, the monster pretender from the Megatron. I mean, some people are saying Razor Beast, but I could see more of Snarl. I would want Razor Beast to kind of be his own thing. Razor Beast is an awesome character, gets a lot of Simon Furman love, so I'd like to see more of him. But yeah, it's okay. I think the box looks cool, but I think the Optimus Starscream 2-pack is way more interesting. And it's not just because those are the two more better characters, in my opinion. I just think like the Ox with the trailer is kind of cool, and the Starscream has a very cool design with the Tengu kind of Phoenix thing. So I think those kind of work better. Where these ones, I don't know, kind of miss the mark a little bit. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I was kind of expecting something else, and sometimes when I have an expectation, I'd like it if they, make something better than my expectations, crush those expectations, make something even better than what I imagined. And that's happened before. But I don't know. I wonder, Takara must have an explanation for the logic of this. They didn't really do a like a live stream afterwards where, say, someone like Evan would have been like, well, here's the logic behind why we did this. So I guess maybe when they do that live stream, or maybe when Evan does like an interview, he'll explain like the deep choices of why they went this direction with it. But T-Formers 2002, the Ox and the cart is super clever. Yeah, that's the thing. Like the Prime one is really smart. It's like, how do you modernize a truck with a giant trailer in feudal Edo period Japan, like 1802, Like, how do you modernize that? Actually, not modernize that, but like reverse engineer that, So it's like, it's kind of cool. Like, I dig that. That's very clever. So, but yeah, Or like, I don't know, how do you do that with Megatron? Well, I always felt with the Megatron, and I know it's a little silly, make him a giant sword that transforms into his robot mode, and then let him come with a smaller 3 millimeter peg version of himself as a sword. That way the Starscream could hold Megatron as a sword. That would be a perfect like one for one comparison. Make him like a really cool katana, like just like a really cool samurai sword forged by Hokutori Hanzo, do some like crazy stuff like that. Just like how the timelines one that came before, he turned into a cannon, and that was topical and made sense. So I don't know. That's just how I see it. Could have been something else. So who knows what they're going to do next? Maybe another pairing of a Bumblebee, Megatron, Optimus, Starscream in another time period or series. We shall see. Then we got this guy. We got this guy here, the Transformers Age of the Primes Commander Class Onslaught of the Combaticons. We have that's just a color digibash by a fan there on the top left, but it kind of gives us an idea of what potentially this will look like in color. But it's something where, hey, now we know how big he is. We know how they're going to do the assembly, like the robot mode comes off as a separate piece. The back end that usually was attached completely to Onslaught is now almost like a trailer piece, which is also going to make the armor and the skeleton for the combined mode. It also shows that that trailer piece could also separate and be a base mode, which is a throwback to the original Scramble City bases, I guess, the lack of a better way of putting it, where they could where all the centerpieces could turn into some kind of launch pad or base mode. Actually, I think the best one was always the yeah, I always found, yeah, maybe the Bruticus one was the nicest one, or the Onslaught one. Just turning my head for a moment, because Superions was okay. I always felt that the Stunticon one and the Defense War one was a little phoned in, although I did like the little repair bay, hoses and stuff that it came with. But either way, very cool that they maintained that and stuff. Again, the prototype that was on display, as well as the test shot that made the alt mode, were the very early protos. So we don't have all the final details of the robot mode and the alt mode. So we'll see more in the future. It's the same reason why we didn't see the combined mode, because these are very fragile resin protos and early POM and ABS test shots, and they just kept it simple. They really just kept it simple. So we'll probably, I'm predicting, we'll probably see Bruticus completely combined around the time of San Diego Comic-Con next year, which isn't too far away when you really think about it. But we'll probably see him fully combined and on display, and he'll be a big centerpiece. And who knows what else will be revealed by then, because it'll be, the 2026 40th anniversary of the 86 movie. So there'll be a lot of that kind of stuff going on. But speaking of 86 movie, how about some Funko Pop, everybody? Oh, yeah. So Funko Pop revealed their latest wave of Funkos for the Transformer related stuff, and at least it sounds like they're leaning a little bit for their 2026 line with some movie characters. And we got Springer here, we got Cup, and then we got Nemesis Prime. And Nemesis Prime is more so just because originally Nemesis Prime was a Funko store exclusive, which sold out very quickly. And it was just, they just did a black repaint of the Optimus. So they're doing a new Nemesis Prime in a different pose this time around to give people an opportunity that if they want to have a black repaint Optimus, they could get it in their collection. And then, of course, got to complete your Seekers. So you got Skywarp and Thundercracker, and Thundercracker is going to be one per case. There is going to be 15 figurines per case, and Thundercracker will be one per case. He'll have a special sticker on the front of him to indicate that he is the one per case, if you are curious which one is a one per case when you see it in person. I'm not a big fan of Funko, but I like to report the info and give you all the facts. So here you go. I got my Hot Rod ones. I'm pretty good at that point. Except for that NFT one. Don't have that yet. Let's talk about Blockies. A lot of good Blockies stuff happening. We have their Blockies Wheels line that they're going to be releasing soon. a 1 by 64 scale, Hot Wheels sized, if you're curious what 1 by 64 scale is, Hot Wheels sized model kits of the alt modes of iconic Transformers. They're pulling obviously from IDW in this case with the aesthetic because they're trying to go with something unique, which in all honesty, all the credit to them. While the IDW verse isn't like my favorite iterations of those characters, I will say if you got to do the alt modes, go with something that at least hasn't been done 100 times before, combined with the fact that right now we have a 1 by 64 scale Hot Wheels Transformers that are slowly coming out. So you got to do something different. You can't just do G1 Prime tracks and all of them again and again, especially when Mattel is kind of doing the same thing right now. So it is what it is. But I mean, I dig it. Looks cool. The only thing I don't dig is apparently there's going to be 3 hot rods in this wave, and 2 of them are extremely rare. One out of 134 boxes. Terrible numbers. The case assortment to this is 14 per case. 1 out of every 124 are a Shining Rodimus or I think it's called Glorious Rodimus, which is the Lost Light colors. So that's going to be hell for me to track down, let alone for people who are completists in general. I have this image on the right here of the prototypes because they show here a trailer, and that is conspicuously absent from this blind box kind of wave. So I don't know if the trailer is going to be a separate release, if it's something that they're going to do afterwards as kind of like a companion piece or a promo item for this, but it does intrigue me only because it's different. I mean, there's a few characters on here that you never get to see, like Scamper and some of the others. I mean, how often do we get a decent Swerve figure? So, and especially comes with his Swerve gun. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I think it's cool. I dig them. I'm not a fan of the chase variants being that high. I mean, I could understand if the chase variants are like 1 out of every 40 or something, like some of the other blockies, but 128, that's crazy. That's really crazy. So it is what it is. But I dig it still. Let me know what you think about those. And then speaking of other blockies, we also have this release, a different color wave this time around. Originally, blockies in their Action Edition, they had the Action Edition '02 Megatron, which was done in the traditional colors. And now they're doing the Action Edition '02 Energy Explosion version. This is literally the term that they're going with. Megatron, which is clearly Megatron when he's getting reformatted by Unicron into Galvatron. Hey Proto, you should be watching the World Series. Well, I will be. I will be. I'm not a big baseball person, but I'm a big sports individual, and it's just nice to see a Canadian team in the finals. Not to mention in the finals against Otani, who, when I was in Japan, let me tell you something. When I was in Japan, that guy's face was everywhere. So if we beat that guy, that's a double win for Canada. Let me tell you. We win America's pastime, and we beat Japan's number 1 guy. So that'll be a double win for us, you know? So it is what it is. So we will see. We will see. I will definitely try to keep up on that. But yeah, so thank you for the super chat, by the way. Secret Kingdom. Thank you. Thank you. So we got this guy here, and it looks like, again, outside of the shockwave that's there, I think everything is a 1-for-1 of the original Action Edition Megatron. I mean, it still comes with the throne, or I guess we'll call it the cockpit seat of the Nemesis. It still comes with a clear purple version this time of Laserbeak, which is pretty interesting to have a purple Laserbeak, as if he was getting reformatted with Megatron. I wonder what he would have turned into. Laserbeak. I guess he would have been one of the sweeps. They would have just bunched him in with that, I guess. But yeah. So there's that. So that's also happening. We don't have a release date yet, but Blockies' Twitter account said that this is going to be coming out extremely soon. And knowing Blockies, whenever they say extremely soon, that could literally be tomorrow. Like, they're very quick with their turnover. And if this is anything like the original Megatron, I mean, I purchased this for $39.99 USD. So I'm going to assume this is more or less the same thing. What's up, twins? So that is that. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, it looks cool. But I mean, there's so many other Galvatrons in this color scheme, Megatrons in this color scheme. So it's really, if you're a model kit person like me, does this really speak to you? But I think you should try them out. I think they do really cool. They have LED lights. They're really fun to build. It's kind of therapeutic. And I think model kits are awesome. And I think more people should mess with them. You know, I really do. I really do. And now let's get into some TFcon stuff. Let's get into that now because we have quite a bit to cover with the TFcon stuff, both in news and just shout outs and everything. So, first, with the first piece of TFcon news. So, next to our booth was the longtime designer of Hasbro stuff, Eric Siebeneller, aka Seabass. Don't ask why they call him the Seabass. You'd have to be at the bar with him to know that one. But Seabass, there he is right there with his very first job. For people that don't know, his very first gig at Hasbro was designing Armada Laserbeak. That was the first time he ever designed a Transformer. So if you ever want to get him to sign anything, get yourself a Armada Laserbeak, get him to sign the wing or something. That was his first gig. But yeah, Eric is going to be joining Hasbro's Transformer design team again. For reasons that cannot be said publicly right now for the time being. But yes, he is back on the team after a absence since 2014, I believe, when he was moved to Star Wars. So he is now back with Transformers, rocking it out. So congratulations, Eric, and welcome back to the team. Welcome back to the team. But that was not it for TFCon because we did a lot of cool stuff too. Me and Aaron Archer, we had a crazy booth. There's Eric's booth on the left there. To the right of us was Mark Watts, who was an absolute, oh my God, I love Mark so much. You have no idea. Like, I hope when I'm his age that I have that much piss and vinegar in me. Like, my God, what a guy. So I had a great weekend. We were kind of like locked in. If you kind of look, like there's no way to escape that booth. Like we had to go behind Eric and like go around. So me and Eric were kind of like locked in there the whole weekend. And we had a great time, a lot of cool stuff. Aaron had some really rare stuff that was on sale, like all these like super rare items that went home with fans. Like he had the employee exclusive RPM, which I mean, there's probably only 25 of those in existence. They were given to members of the Hasbro team because of a very successful year in 2009 and 2010 with Revenge of the Fallen. He had the Red Thrust, which had a very limited global release. He had some test shots from Armada with different kinds of packaging. He had prototype Armada shoes, which some sneakerhead didn't even think twice and bought it for $500. Like a lot, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There was tons of stuff at the booth, a lot of really crazy stuff that got bought. Thank you, Secret Kingdom, for joining the the membership. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, so a lot of crazy stuff. Like it was absolutely nuts. All the crazy stuff that was there. And what was even more crazy was like I set all this stuff up on the Friday. By like Saturday morning, I had to reset up a whole bunch of new things because everything was gone. You know? Everything was absolutely gone. And Cringe McCringle, who's in the chat here, $2 was the one who bought that RPM. Well, now, Cringe, what you're doing is you're saying how much you paid for it. But to be fair, I should have taken a photo of it. To be fair, Cringe bought that for $150, and then Aaron Archer gifted him a very special Nest Revenge of the Fallen 2009 jacket that he had. Only worn once, so it barely has Aaron Stank on it. Only worn once. But yeah, so he kind of got gifted that too. So when you think about it, you paid $150 for the jacket and the exclusive RPM. So you got that exclusive Revenge of the Fallen jacket, Nest jackets, which is pretty cool, I'll be honest with you. And that for $150. So it all worked out. It all worked out in the end. You should wear it to like the next TFCon or something. It could be your big flex. Like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, and then of course, there's me and Aaron. And then you can see Eric's head there behind the Cybertron painting. We were very busy that weekend. We appreciate all the fans that came out. that came to say hi and bought all of Aaron's art. Aaron made away like a gangsta that weekend. He did very well. Very happy for him. All the stuff that got sold, all the Posca paintings, and oh my god, I think he had one art book left, and I don't even know if that one art book got sold in the end. Like he brought a stack of art books; those were all sold. He did very well. Me, of course, with the comics, we sold a bunch of comics. We almost sold out of all the Yellow Bees. We have a few left over for patrons and stuff. But yeah, man, good stuff. It was really great turnout. All the fans that came by. We'll get into the shout outs with all the fans and the gifts and stuff in a moment. Of course, Aaron with his Posca paintings. There's the twins. Look at them there. They got probably the craziest one. I watched Aaron do both of these based off of the studio 40th anniversary art by well, I guess it was Gynex and the whole crew and everything. But man, looking good. Looking good. And I'm talking about the twins. I'm not even talking about the art. But yeah, great stuff. Looking great. That was awesome too. And man, so we'll go into some of the shout outs and gifts and stuff. I mean, there was a lot going on and just all the other craziness too. Fauner, is it true that TFcon will be coming back to Orlando next year? Yes, it will be. It will be October, I believe it said. It will be Orlando. And it will be the same location as last time, which is quite a unique location, I will say. The hotel rooms are kind of in like a motel kind of system. And I find that it makes the parts parties really interesting because they have like these giant glass windows so you could see into the rooms if you want. And so when you're having a parts party, you just kind of open that glass window and everyone could see in all the action. So it's very cool. Very interesting hotel. And it has like swimming pools and resorts and water slides. So it's a nice hotel. It was really nice. The only thing is, I hope as long as the weather holds up and it's not crazy hot weather, then it'll be a perfect weekend. And with Florida, that's hit or miss, unfortunately. But yeah, yep. But it was great. It was great. That photo must take. Hold on, where are we at here, James? That photo must have to take a minute to take into consideration how you had to get out of the booth. Oh yeah. Well, anyone who saw that weekend, like I had to like get out around the back. I had to always pass Eric, and I'd have to like brace myself on Eric's shoulders because Eric had his suitcases and stuff. It was super packed. Like I understand like the dealer room was super packed, but it was even packed like behind our tables. Like it was we fit like 10 pounds of crap in a 2-pound space. Let's put it that way. So it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. But it's again, it's a nice location going back to the Florida thing. So anyone who's looking forward to TFCon East Coast a year from now, which is it's gonna be like October. Um, it's a good location. I liked it. And there was a few unique. I don't know if I still have his business card. I have my stack of business cards over here, but they have a few unique local toy dealers that come by and do the show. There was one called, I think it was called Retro Rat, and he had a lot of really cool stuff. He had like a cage of just a whole bunch of loose figures and bought a lot of good stuff from him. But let's talk about shout outs, gifts, stuff we got, and then some, because I always want to give props to the cool people. First up, I promised this one. I covered his face because he's still. So I had a fan who came by the booth who was, no joke, had to be 8 to 9 years old. And it's the first time ever I had a fan that was that young. We're a very cerebral podcast. We talk about business. We talk about finance. We talk about toy design. We're not very visual. We're not very, hey, kids, look at this toy review. We're a very cerebral podcast, and I appreciate that about my audience. That you guys appreciate that's what we really talk about here. But to have a fan that was like 8 to 9 years old that loves the show blew my mind. And he asked me if I could sign his Optimus Prime shoe, which was so cool. I'm covering his face because he's a child, so I want to protect his privacy. He's a young kid. His dad was right there behind him, smiling ear to ear. So he wanted me to sign his shoe, and I did a little Proto Man sketch on it. So that was really cool of him. It's the first time I've signed a shoe. So, and I dug his Bart Simpson sweater. So shout out to Rylan. Rylan, thank you so much for coming by the booth. That was really cool. You're probably the youngest fan I've ever had in all this old man stuff that I do. So thank you so much for coming by. That was really cool of you, little dude. And I promised you I'd give you a little shout out. And I'll stand by that, my friend. I'll stand by that. So, and again, sorry for covering your face. I figured, give yourself some privacy. Some of us, we don't mind our ugly mugs being out there, but I always want to just protect the kids, you know. Then what do we got? What do we got? Because I actually have a list here because I didn't want to. I literally, when people were giving me stuff, I was like, I want your name. If you have social media, I want to make sure I don't leave anyone behind. So where do we begin? So let's start with Michael Koo, who's in the chat. Might as well. Witwicky, Rylan Witwicky. Yeah, he's that kid was awesome. That kid was really cool. So let's start with Michael Koo. So Michael gave a few things, actually. One thing that's going to be a common thing, not just unique to Michael, is people bringing us paydays. So Michael brought us a bunch of bags of payday. Don't worry, if you're another person who brought me a payday, you won't be left out. There was just a lot of people that did this. So Michael, you brought me 3 bags, I think, of payday, or 2 bags, because I'll tell you one thing, a lot of it didn't survive this weekend. So I just want to say, everyone who brought us junk food, me and Aaron, thank you, because for lack of better words, the lunch was kind of garbage at TFcon, and for guests. So, and that's not throwing shade at TFcon. The suppers are great. The other food is great. Just the lunch was kind of eh. So this really helped us out to kind of power through everything. Let's put it that way. So I'll mention all the other people who gave us paydays too. But so that was really cool. So you gave me 2 because I lost track because I had so many bags of I'll mention other people that brought afterwards too. But I was like, did Michael give me 2 or 3? And then did this guy give me 2 or 1? It was nuts. It was nuts because people have to understand in Canada, payday is not allowed. It has way too much sugar. Oh my God. 14 grams of sugar for 1/2. What? So, and I'm not eating one. And it's these are the snack size ones that are like tiny. So it's like, oh my God. So just context of why I love it. It tastes amazing, but it'll kill you. But you know what? When you're doing a con, and you need energy, and you're talking to millions of people, and me and Aaron Archer are starving, a payday will save your life. Michael Koo also hooked us up with a box of Glockies. This one I'm going to donate to Make-A-Wish under Michael. So when you guys come to TFcon Toronto in July, this will be part of the donation towards Make-A-Wish, so we could help a ailing kid get his wish. When we do Make-A-Wish, me and Ian was at, what was amazing? Ian, who does Make-A-Wish with me, was at TFcon, but he was just there as a guest, and he was only there kind of on the Saturday, and if you came around the Sunday, he was at my booth just for a bit. But so me and Ian, we run Make-A-Wish with TFcon, where we try to make $10,000 to make a wish for a kid if he wants to meet John Cena or meet an actor or whatever. It takes about 10K to do it. So we do it every year, and thank you for the donation, Michael. I'm sure this will go towards making a kid get his dream, which is very important. Very cool of you, Michael. Michael also gave me, you probably saw on my Instagram, he gave me a bunch of cool figures I haven't gotten yet, like the bumper and the cliff jumper, and I already transformed him for some future photography. A Ultra Magnus and the Tarn. So that was very cool of Monsieur Michael. Let me just put everything. I have so much stuff here. I'm just trying to make sense of it all. Ugh. Michael also hooked me up with, because I also love my video game merch, so he hooked me up with some McDonald's exclusive Mario Kart stuff. The Peach one's really cool. The Peach Kart one, that's really nice. And this is the cool one. the Devastator Blocky upgrade kit exclusive to China. So I'm glad I got that one. That one, very happy about. So thank you for that, Michael. And last but not least from Michael, I hope I didn't forget anything else, but he also got me some Hot Wheels. So in the case assortment with tracks, which that's interesting that it can't, the black, I guess, is the base color. They should have made blue the base color, and when you put the hot water, then it turns it black. It turns it into black tracks for anyone knows the exclusives. So he hooked me up with that and the very, very cool, very coupe, very nice looking coupe, that one too, that turns purple. Very awesome. Kind of looks a little bit like G2 Jazz. A little bit of G2 Jazz going on. Very, very cool. So thank you for that, Michael. Hold on, gotta move everything here. Got so much stuff here. Ian was oh, it's true. Ian was at the TFW. Yeah, you know what? He was on the outside with me. He was on the outside because it was too hot in the actual party room. Yeah, that's it. Again, that party, we'll get into that in a moment. That'll definitely be part of the conversation too. But yeah, so thank you for all of that, Michael. I hope I didn't forget anything. When I got home, I was also trying to put stuff away, so just trying to make sense of everything. But I think that was everything. But yeah, so then let's try to cover some other stuff. Then I got a pin here, a little Twitch pin from good old Transformers Earthspark. I got that from Andrea. That was very nice of her to give me a nice little pin and stuff. So that was very cool. Then we got this Rodimus sticker with the from I asked for them to put their contact info, Noteworthy Goons on Tumblr and Blue Sky. So a nice little Rodimus star there. Thank you for that. Then we got this trading card of Wild Wheel. People know my Wild Wheel weirdness. That was the last toy review I ever did. Good old Wild Wheel. And that one was a trading card. This is an original art drawn by I want to say it's That's So Raven, but it's like I think the twos are S's or something. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. At That's So Raven. So thank you for that. What else do we got? This one's just a shout out. This is a Chinese individual who came by Aaron and my booth. Just want to talk about how to get into the toy business and stuff. So shout out to Xiu Lai, Shi Lao Lai. Young, are you in the chat? Help out a brother. That's his contact info. Direct there on X and Insta. He's trying to get into the toy industry. That's some of his original art. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. All the best of luck succeeding in the industry, my friend. You're actually in a very good situation to pull that off. I will say that much because of where he's from, China. He's just in America right now for school. Shi Lao, thank you. Shi Lao Lai, thank you, Young. I can always count on you for that. My white boy tongue can't handle it. And then just a shout out to Toby Hickson and his store, Toby Toys. Gave a little shout out to him. I was at his parts party. Give him a little shout out. And then, of course, the Rodimus star, the wood pin, done by Mel this weekend. Got that one too. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything because there's too much stuff. Might as well get this one out of the way. This is not so much a gift, more something I bought from Cringe McCringle because Cringe McCringle went to a cool 80s 90s toy convention, and he picked me up a carded original New Adventures of Batman, Bruce Timm, Nightwing, looking really good carded. I have this figure loose. I've never had it carded. So now I have a nice one carded. This is the only thing I have ever cosplayed in my entire life was this guy right here. Because the wife, she did Huntress, so I had to do Nightwing. So that's really cool. Dig that one. That one, the funny thing, this one wasn't done by Aaron Archer. This was, of this line, Aaron did Harley Quinn, Ra's al Ghul. Aaron did a few others, but I know like that line didn't do this one though. Just so happens that he hooked me up for that. What else? What else? Sec. So we have Silver Screamer. Oh yeah, this. Oh boy. So Silver Screamer gave us a bag of, oh boy. So he gave us also a thing of Payday. Now I don't know if this is Silver Screamer's bag. I know that we opened up something to feed each other. So he gave us one. I know he gave us one bag of Payday. Now he gave us one bag of this one. I haven't opened this yet, but I'm curious. This is Dot's homemade pretzels. Never had this before, but definitely me and the wife will try this out on a day where we're watching a whole bunch of K dramas or something. So that's very interesting. Kind of looks like the pretzels you get on a plane. At least maybe I don't know. That's from my experience. It says it's a seasoned pretzel, and it kind of looks like them, like they're twists. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. If you ever take a lot of plane flights, what the airlines give you. But what he gave me here, oh boy. So he gave. I didn't know what these were. So these are called Muddy Buddies. He gave me 2 bags of these. Let's just say there's already only one bag left. Oh my God. I took one bite of these and I went, what is this? This stuff is so addictive. It is a Chex piece with peanut butter and chocolate in it and then frosting put on top of it. It is so much. It is so good, though. We destroyed the first bag. The first bag didn't stand a chance. And we went, oh my God, we got to stop. We got to stop. We're going to kill ourselves. Holy moly. That first bag didn't stand a chance. And that's why I kept this bag sealed. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to, if this bag opens, we're going to finish it. We're going to be so screwed. So thank you, Silver Screamer, for increasing our diabetes in the house, in the proto household. But my goodness, once again, this for sure is not in Canada. I've never even heard of this. There's your health readout there of calories and everything. Help us, God help us all. Yeah, meet your muddy buddies. Yeah, that's me in the bathroom later. Oh my God, powdered sugar on a smooth. Powdered sugar on a smooth exterior with an irresistible interior of peanut butter chocolate with extra layers of fudge. Oh, it's like, oh my God. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy, this. If you have not tried this, proceed with caution. Holy moly. And I thought paydays were nuts. My goodness. That's a Midwest thing. Interesting. That's true because I think Silver Screamer asked me if I had any Midwest stuff or something. Yeah, man, that is wild. That is wild. That one. But yeah. So thank you for that, Silver Screamer. Let me make sure I cover. Okay, so next we have. This is Andrew. This is actually for the wife. I swear. Andrew. I think it was last TF. Was it last TFcon? I'm so bad. They all blur together. The last TFcon in LA or Baltimore, he had a table. He had a parts party, and he had a whole bin of vintage My Little Ponies. My wife is very selective with vintage My Little Ponies. She likes what are called Pony Bros. And what Pony Bros are is, here's a fun fact, male My Little Pony characters have hair on their feet. See the little veneering and detail on there? So there's small ones and there's big ones. So she's always on the hunt for them. And the first time I met him at the last USA TFCon, he had one. And he's like, oh, I have more in my storage. Next time we meet. He remembered a week before the show. Shout out to you, Andrew. Thank you so much. He remembered and he contacted me. He's like, hey, are you going to be at the show? Like, I'll bring for your wife. So he brought me that. So that was a nice gift for my wife. She was very thankful for that. And then he threw in a little extra fluffy one. I have no idea what this one is. It's one of the flocked ones. She knows it. I don't know this stuff. So this is her world. So very, very cool. Thank you, Andrew, for that. Making the little lady happy too, that I didn't come back empty-handed. What is Cringe saying here? I'll bring some homemade Buc-ee's next. Oh my God. Well, Buc-ee's has a lot of, isn't Buc-ee's like a chain that's attached to gas stations and en routes, or am I wrong? That's the Buc-ee's that I know. But Then we got Aaron Archer gave me one or two faction feud items. Those are already upstairs. Um, like pretty much I'm army building these guys, so Aaron had an extra of that in the comic. I'm trying to remember, make sure I don't miss nobody. One sec. One sec. Just want to make sure. Might as well just cover these in the meantime. So also got this as a gift. I was gonna buy some art from Mark. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy some art from you," and I literally told him that at the beginning of the show. I was like, "I'm gonna buy some art from you once I make some money." And then he just gave this to me as like a thank you, just for having a good weekend. So he gave me, there we go, all the originals of the original mini bots, certified by the man, signed by him. So that's going right above good old Shockwave over there. Very cool. It's got Braun. It's got Huffer. It's got damn, you know what? That reminds me. I'm sorry, Joseph, if you're in the chat. I should have got you. You know what? I'm going to convince Mark to do LA anyways. If Mark comes to LA, then you'll get some original Huffer art from him, because Joseph from Symbiote is a big Huffer guy. So, and this is how I always my little trick whenever you go to a con, always bring like a nice cardboard to protect your art so it doesn't get damaged in transit. Ugh. Not the Montreal bus transformer. Where are we at here? Bucky's are great. Cool mini bots. Yeah, that was a gift from him. Like I was gonna buy, no joke, I was gonna buy something from him. I was like, because the thing is, when I start the show, I have only change, and I'm Canadian, so like I have to manage with what change I have. It's otherwise I can't go to an ATM and take out more. It's impossible. I'm Canadian. It doesn't make sense. So I have to rely on the change I have, and I brought about $300 of change in fives and tens. So I need to like make some sales first, which then give me 20s and 50s, and then I could go buy stuff. Literally everything I bought in the show, I spent in probably the last 2 hours of the whole convention because I wanted to wait till the end. And a lot of it was autographs, because what did I really get? Autographs. That was my big goal this weekend. So I had Bob Budiansky's autograph for a while. Time to put Ralph on there too. So now I got Ralph and Bob on my nice Transformers #1. Is this the Canadian version? No, this is the American one. I have so many different variants. Very important. UPC code, first print. Never forget that. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. And then same thing, UPC code, first print. And technically the first appearance in comic book form of this guy right here. Transformers the movie #1, signed by Ralph. He did the adaptation of it. So got those two signed by him. He was only asking $10 an autograph. I don't have my envelope near me. So he was only asking $10 an autograph, and I was like, I refuse to spend $10. I'm giving you $40, because he had never done a convention up to this point. So I wanted him to have a good experience, to go back with a lot of. So I'm like, I'm giving you $40, brother. I want you to now I'm not giving you 20. I'm giving you double, because I want him to do well, because I want him to come to LA. I want him to go, "Oh, I did well at this Chicago show. Maybe I should do LA." If these guys have good times, they want to do the other shows. So I wanted to do that. And then I threw $100 at Bob Budiansky and got him to sign a whole bunch of trading cards. They're upstairs. They're already put away. I always go to Bob and I always go, here's a fat stack, sign them. And then Bob always doesn't want to take money, but I refuse to do that, because Bob takes the time to sign them. And not only does he take the time to sign them, but he takes the time, because Bob knows trading cards, because he came from that world. He worked on Marvel special projects with all the different trading card companies. So he knows like certain cards you got to use blue, certain cards you got to use a silver pen, certain cards you got to use a black pen. So he took the time with each trading card. He signed 30 cards for me. And I was like, you know what? Here, have $100, brother. Have $100. Because he doesn't like to take my money, but I don't care. He's such a good guy to me. I wanted him to be next to me, but they wanted to put him and Ralph next to each other, which made sense. Sabertron Toys with $2 super chat. Miss TFcon, hope to meet you in the near future. Well, where are you at, brother? Where are you at? There's always a way to figure it out. There's 3 shows a year: West, East, North. You could always figure it out. I went to all of them regardless, and I used to go to that on a Burger King salary back in the day. Yeah, I heard about that he didn't speak much during the panel, Michael. You know what, though? The problem is I talked with him for a bit. Here's the thing. This was a job for him in the 80s. And then he went on with his life and did other Marvel stuff. He wasn't a convention guy. And you have to understand, during the 80s, it wasn't big with the Comic Cons and the conventions and everything. He was a writer who did his thing and disappeared into the shadows. And it just so happened that he wrote and adapted two very important Transformer books. So it's something where it was his first time doing a con. And I'll tell you, he did just fine. He did a lot of signatures that weekend. And I firmly believe, and I know people will hate me to say this because it costs them money, I think he should have charged more for his autograph. That's why I gave him more money. I don't think he should have been charging $10. He should have charged more. Certain people, they deserve to be able to make the money that they made, all these years later. Like one thing that I always have to explain to people, and I said it multiple times over the weekend, is that people would ask me and Aaron, do we charge for autographs? And I say, no, we don't. But the reason why me and Aaron don't charge for autographs is because we have something to offer you guys that is physical, right? If you want to buy something from me, I have the exclusives. I have my comics that I write. There's a way that you could give me money. The autographs are free. I don't care. I'll sign anything you want for free. There's a way I could make money that weekend, so it's not a worry. But same thing with Aaron. Aaron has his art books. Aaron has all his art. He has all the other stuff. There's ways for us to make money. But David Kaye has nothing he could offer you. He's a voice actor. Ralph and Bob Budiansky, there's nothing really they have to offer you. So they have to charge for their autographs because there's nothing that they could give you that's extra from that. So that's kind of the logic of it. But Ralph, he's been out of the game for so long. Brother, when you go to LA, if you're listening, I don't know if his handler is listening, put at least $20. Let that man make some money because he's going to crush it in LA. So let that man make some money. That's what I always say. Michael Koo, Ralph stated that he had never done so much research to write a 2-page spread for Transformers the movie miniseries. Yeah, man. It's how it is, yo. It's how it is. So you didn't get annoyed by him this weekend? No, man. I didn't get to annoy him that much. It was like our area was that we were like the pseudo Hasbro area. It was like me, Aaron, Eric Siebeneller, and then we had Mark to the left of us. Like we were all the Hasbro kind of dudes. And then after Mark was, I want to say Ralph. And then after Ralph, I want to say was Bob. So he was like 3 people away from me. And I'm not going to be yelling over Mark. Mark is Mark is way more of a character than even I am. So, oh, did I miss a super chat? One sec. Sorry. Always, if I miss a super chat, always bring it up, please. Are there any cool plans for TFcon LA? Still too far away, unfortunately. Like the only thing that I know so far is there's a strong chance I'm going to be doing stuff with Symbiote Studios because Aaron might not be going to TFcon LA. So it's something where we're still how many, what are we like? November, December, January, February, March. We still have like 4 months. We have like more than a quarter of a year away. So there's still time to plan stuff. I will be there. That's without question. Just I don't know what the plans are yet. It's still far away. We're going to figure everything out. But even like, I think the only guest there's only one guest that has been announced thus far. It's still so early. Like 99% of TFCon's like guests, exclusives, panels, all that gets announced in like the last 30 days before the show. That's always how it is. All I know is we'll have an exclusive. We're working on a brand new exclusive, so that's going to be there. So don't worry. We're going to have a brand new exclusive at the show. It will be video game related. Like always, we like to keep that theme. And there'll be some comic stuff because by the time we roll around to March, I'll already be another 3 books in the hole of the Mega Man stuff. So we'll have some new Mega Man books. We'll have some new exclusives. That'll be pretty hype. That's all I could tell you really. But aside from that, I don't know. I do not know. It's way too far away. It's kind of like me asking, what am I going to be doing for TFcon Toronto? I don't know. It's so far away. Um, but oh no, I'm not going to be wearing the Symbiote Studio mascot thing at the booth. Hell no. Hell no. My wife honestly thought about wearing that thing at one point, and then she was like, no. When we went to SDCC. So, sorry for missing the super chat, Mayoral. Last thing that I got signed is I'm on a mission. This is a weird one, expensive mission, to get every voice actor from Clay Fighters to sign. So, yes, that is Frank Welker. Frank Welker was, I'll bring it in close. Frank Welker was Blob, Ichabod Clay, and Lockjaw. So there was Blob, Ichabod Clay, and Lockjaw was the dog, because of course Frank Welker is going to do a dog and every animal. And then next to that is Rob Paulson. And Rob Paulson, he was Bonkers, who was the little clown over there. And then now we got good old Charlie Adler, who was, of course, the main villain, Dr. Klein, and his hand. So very, very cool to get those. I'm slowly getting everybody. I plan to fill out this whole border with all of the Clay Fighters voice actors. It is a ridiculously silly and expensive endeavor, but I don't care. I want to pull it off somehow. I love my video game stuff. I love my video game art and everything. And it's like, I even have like a short little post-it here. It's like Jim Cummings. He was the voice of Hooligan and Santa Sumo. Jeff Bennett. He was Kung Pao. Like I have a small little list of like guys that do conventions regularly. So I'm going to try to get as many as I can. Trying to get as many as I can. But yeah, so got all of those. Those were like my big scores. Like autographs was kind of the thing I was really aiming for this weekend, because those are stuff that are harder to get. I could go to 50 TF cons and find merchandise that I'm looking for, but actors come and go all the time. Sometimes, like, who knows? Charlie Adler, he's not an old guy, but he's not a young guy either. Might be the last time he does a show. Might be the one of many times he does a show. I don't know. So I got to catch those opportunities when I get them, whenever I can. You can't procrastinate on those. So that's one. And, if he's gone, I'm in trouble. There's no way I could get that autograph again outside of like buying something online, cutting it out and gluing it to my thing. But yeah. T-Formers 2002, they were both in LA, but considering how busy the show was. Well, that's just it. Both were at LA, but I wasn't worried about it because I knew that they were going to be coming back next year, like at some point, because those are the easy guests. Those are the LA West Coast guys, and they're also much younger. So I'm not too concerned on that. I'll be able to get them. Those I'm not too worried about. It's some of the more tougher dudes. What else? What else? What else? Trying to see what else. Oh, of course. So there was also the TFW 2005 25th anniversary party, which I was invited to. I totally forgot about it, and then Tony Bacala gave me this thingy saying, "Hey, come on down, Proto Man." So I went to that because I'm technically a veteran on the boards. I've had that badge for so long, I don't even know what it means. But I think I get more space on my inbox. So you get you got a little gift bag and you got a t-shirt, 25 years of TFW 2005 t-shirt, which I've been part of the website probably 24 of those 25 years, if not the full 25. You got a sticker sheet of faction symbols so that you could put on this upgrade kit. So this is an upgrade kit that gives you Boombox as weapon. So Boombox is Tony Bacala's original character. Picture Optimus Prime if he turns into a Boombox. And these were like his weapons. So you could put it with, gosh, I need a 5mm peg figure. Let's grab old sea spray here. Hold on. And these were done by Nonef, I think his name is. The guy who did I think I have his card somewhere. Let me find it. But, geez, these don't really fit well on a 5mm peg, Nonef. I don't know. I got these to work with. Oh, there we go. So just these little 5 millimeter pegs. I think these are like 6 millimeter. The pegs. You might have to wear them down a little bit. So it's just little weapons based off of TFW stuff. There's the front of the radio and everything, and then you have a sticker sheet. My goodness, these are tough. And then you got a sticker sheet, and then you got actually here's where there's the boombox. So the Transformers TCG gave a bunch of boombox trading cards and a roller exclusive card too. So that's a nice touch from the Transformers TCG crew. I think it has their logo on there on the back. There you go. TransformersTCG.org. Shout out to them on Instagram and everything. So they had that. There's No Neff's business card. There's No Neff. What was cool about him, I don't know if you saw, he had a giant oversized battle beast based off of his cat. That was pretty cool. Kind of looked like Butters if he was a battle beast. There's the name tags. You had two different choices of name tags, so I got both of them. They're both there. Cool little magnet name tags too. They're very strong, like very, very strong name tags. And yeah, that was it more or less. You get all of that nice little loot bag. Oh, and you got a poster too, which the poster right now is with Cringe McCringle because I had no more suitcase space between the tons of candies and paydays and everything. I was already packed. No Neff Productions. There we go. Uh, should have been Butters in a Halloween costume. Yeah, seriously, eh? But yeah, yeah. But I think that's it. I think that's it. I know that there was like a few things I already put away, but I didn't buy much in terms of Transformers because my goal that weekend really was to spend like a good wad of cash on autographs. Because I know that oh, Blue Jays leading. Yo yo. Yo yo. Go Canada go. One sec, hold on. Uh yeah. Totally didn't plan on that. Although it's all hockey there, but yeah, let's go. Let's go. It's Canada versus Japan. That's what's really going on. Canada versus Japan in America's sport. Who will win? We don't know. Who will win? Cringe I will protect that poster. Well, thank you, Cringe. Thank you. I'll get it at Toronto. That'll probably be the best time because if you bring it to me in LA, it's going to be the same problem. But Toronto will be easier because that's now I'm driving down. So yeah, that's awesome. That's good news. At least we're leading. What's the inning? How far are we into the game? Because baseball's a little long, unfortunately. So can't get our hopes up just yet. But what inning are we? Uh, America cares about baseball. I wouldn't say that. You have to understand. Like I played a lot of sports as a kid growing up, and I got to travel for sports, specifically hockey and basketball. And they do. They do. It's just maybe you're just not in a town where it's really important. You can't say you live in New York and no one cares about baseball when you have two teams. Bottom of the third. Okay. So it's still early. Still early. Plenty to go. Plenty to go. 1/4 of the way there, really, if you had to like estimate it. What's up, Ninja? But yeah, I think that's it. I want to say I didn't forget anything else. I kind of, again, my goal, I always have a rule. I want to leave with more money than I came with. So I came with $300. I wanted to leave with more than I came with, but I still was going to treat myself to stuff. The only thing that I was thinking of picking up, and ultimately in the end I didn't, just because it was kind of like a little overpriced, was I was looking at some of the Beast Wars stuff that I was missing from the Japanese side of things. There was a Reverse Convoy Revenge Megatron. I have one already, but it was a boxed one. So I was kind of going like, do I want it with the box? I don't know. But it was $200. I was like, I'll let it slide. I can live without it. There was a few other stuff here and there, but at the end of the day, the autographs were the most important thing. I'm glad I got those, especially the ones from Bob. That stack of trading cards, like those are important to me. Like because Bob had a lot to do with the trading card world, and he doesn't get celebrated enough for it, which is crazy. You know, everyone, oh, Transformers, Transformers, Transformers. It's like, man, like '90s trading cards was all Bob Budiansky. Like I can't stress that enough. And like, and the I guess the problem is just because the credits, you know, his name is on the checklist. That's about as far as it goes, but you know, it doesn't go beyond that, unfortunately. Yeah, it was $200, Ninja. I know. Well, that's why. So I was like, I want it to get a boxed one, but I'm not going to pay $200 just to have the box. So I'll live. I would pay 60, 70. That's a realistic number. MSRP on that guy was like, what, 2,000 yen? And I'm being generous. He was probably like a $14 item back in the day. So that kind of muscle memory with me. I don't care about like rarity and stuff. It's like, I'll live. I'll live. $200 goes a long way in this hobby. And sometimes it's like, there's certain items that I won't hesitate for $200. There's other items where I'm like, I see him enough that another chance will come. That's like an Azusa table purchase, as I like to call it. Azusa will have it for like 50 for some reason, and for some reason, Azusa will have like 5 of them. So not too worried. Not to mention if I go to Japan and find it, so that's a whole other factor. But yeah, that's it, more or less. So we got 45 minutes left in the stream. We'll just open it up to super chats and we'll call it quits. I hope I didn't leave out anybody. I tried to make a list here during the weekend. Oh, I want to give a shout out to some of my TFcon crew people. Might as well do that too. I put that slide. Where is it? There we go. So I want to give a shout out to, of course, Jaws D, who's the shortest person in the photo there, but don't mind Jaws D. He's been my co-host for years. He will always be. Oh, I'm not wearing that shirt, but he's on my shirt there. Um, you know, so Jaws D, we got Cringe McCringle, we got T-Formers 2002, we got Stitch, we got Silver Screamer, we got Italian Hoagie, we got Pathfinder, we got Guido, we got who am I forgetting? Oh, Horndowl, we got Spuck Prime, we got Michael Koo, who's not in the photo here. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, who am I forgetting? Ah, damn. But yeah, so Spuck Convoy, Horndowl, Michael Cood, Guido, Pathfinder, Italian Hoagie, Silver Screamer, Stitch, T-Formers 2002, Cringe McCringle. Thank you all for a great weekend and all the greatness and all the awesomeness. Fantastic stuff. Oh, we'll get the sponsors. We're just trying to get through all of this right now. It was quite the busy weekend. But yeah, thanks to all those guys too. Great stuff, great time with friends and everything like it. And everything like it. Yeah, that photo, Horndowl, that was not planned actually. Because what I see, here's the thing: I was invited to that. Where the hell's the photo? Oh, there it is. I was invited. That's the 25th anniversary uh, TFW event, and Tony set up a photography area. Like that's why like we all have nice lighting and stuff, and there's that background. So he made like a photography area. I was like, oh, well, I guess that's a good time as any to take the photo. And a lot of the people were there, so it's like, sure, why not? You know? So it is what it is. Next time, next show, we'll probably try to plan something better. I'll be honest with you, when I do these shows, I don't plan on taking photos. Like I rely very heavily on other people taking photos because I am so busy just doing other stuff that the last thing on my mind is taking a picture. So it's something where I'm just glad that I was able to get any. I'll be honest with you. So, but it's good to see all of you. There was another dude. What was his name? Came by the booth. Dumb something. No jokes. Dumb something. What was his name? But he came by the booth. He was cool too. He was looking forward to the exclusives. So I hooked him up. He was worried that it would sell out, so I put some aside for him. There was a whole bunch of dudes that I met. A lot of cool dudes. Patriot Prime. That was another one that I met. I'm unfamiliar with his stuff, but nice guy. Um, Dumb Jake, thank you, Bigum. Oh, and there's a super chat. One sec. Airy Nuts with $2 super chat. Any chance of future original Junkion releases? So, are you talking about like making more Junkion characters from that Voyager class? Or are you talking about like brand new toolings of like Nancy, which I'm surprised they haven't done Nancy yet. That's a surprising one because you could do Nancy and then you could do all the Linthan people afterwards. And then you could just like milk like 3 molds out of that right there. Yeah, it was Dumb Jake. But so I'm sure definitely they'll do original Junkions at some point. Will they come apart and do more modulator stuff? That I don't know. I think the modulator thing is going to run its course at some point. Um, but I could see Nancy. Nancy has to be done. They always want to do a female character in a wave. So you do Nancy, and then you got Arborus, and then you got, what's his name? Kranix. You could do all of those in like a certain scale. But yeah, I met a guy named Patriot Prime. He was pretty cool. Who else? I remember he said something. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know if I could approach and talk to you." I hate it when people say that though. Like it's like, "Oh, I didn't know. I didn't want to bother you." It's like, no, it's okay, man. It's cool. It's cool. You know. Trust me, everyone should be approachable at these shows. I'm not some monolith. You know. How dare you speak to me? Only if you're able to recite all the spy changers may you talk to me. What is that? Rev? Oh, maybe it's also Wars. Perhaps maybe Artofia or Eagle Killer. Oh, are you saying the Japanese ones? Now you've earned my respect. No, I'm not like that. So, but I met a guy named Patriot Prime who was pretty cool. This was all like waiting in line for the deal room to open for dealers. Who else did I meet? It's a bunch of people, bunch of cool folks, bunch of cool people. Like it's what I love about the show is that, I've been doing Transformer conventions, no joke. It's crazy for 24 years now. Like 24 years I've been doing Transformer conventions. All the way back. Let me go pull out my very first flyer. Where is it? There it is. All the way back. That was my very first one I went to. BotCon 2001. Shout out to Meesum and Goober. We drove down to North Carolina. It was a long drive. We slept in the car. But bro, I got to meet Michael Bell. I got to meet Greg Berger. I got to meet Gary Chalk, who should have just been close by because he's Canadian. I got to meet Paul Davids, who was a writer. I got to meet Vince DiCola, and he got him to sign my vinyl record. Gary Falcone. I don't know who that was. I got to meet Simon Furman. Yeah. Simon was at the bar. He was chill. I got to meet Scotty, although at that point, I think I had met Scotty once before from an anime convention. Good old John. Rest in peace, John. No longer with us. And a whole bunch of the Hasbro people. Look at that dealer room. Look how small it was back in the day. Oh my goodness. Like TFcon was like 3 times take this. TFcon was like 3 times the size of that. Who were the dealers that weekend? Off-World Toys. Oh, I guess some of the artists were here. There's Azusa's table. Weekend schedule could all be fit in this little thing here. And then of course you had the exclusives, which they don't feature them here though, but good times. Good effing times. But yeah. Good effing times. Treebot. Unfamiliar with that one. Don't know that one. Was he at the show? Ninjatron's a monolith. Don't talk to him. He's scary. But yeah. Michael Koo at TFcon Chicago this year. I think they did a good job in segmenting the different interest in the vendor room. Yeah, well, so the biggest problem when you run these shows is you don't know. Like, here's how it works. you rent out the dealer space. It's a blank slate, right? You go, okay, TFcon's going to be in Chicago. Here's the dealer room, blank slate. And then you open it up to dealers. Now, you don't know in the moment how it's going to go. What if all of a sudden there's like 60 artists, that get Artist Alley? You don't know. So it's something where they have to really wait until like 2-3 weeks before the show before they even do a floor plan. So it's something where they went, okay, we're going to put all these guys here. We're going to put the artists over here. We'll put more of the like big companies and third party stuff in the middle. And then we'll put more of the vintage stuff, going towards more of the back. That's where you got Artfire's booth and Cringe McCringle's booth and stuff. So, and again, the more like companies, like obviously we had CGC was there. We had RoboSen was there. So having those two guys there also, like, again, when you look where those were located, more in that, official area in the center. So, but you can't plan that until you know all your pieces. Imagine you set up the whole thing and then at the last minute, some guy gets a table and it's, you have to fit him in there somehow that it makes sense. So it is what it is. Big room. The vendor room was too small in Chicago. Artist Alley was a huge bottleneck. Well, see, the problem is when this was all planned, last time we were in Chicago, it was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. There was a huge demand for doing the convention this year. There was way more attendance than was expected. I will agree with you one way. By having the convention in a low ceiling location, that leads to bad ventilation, and then it's, really hot. I was lucky that, I was sitting the whole time, and, luckily there wasn't like people hovering over me per se in that, like, at least I had, let me go to Aaron's booth here. Maybe not that one, but this one here. At least we had like the space to kind of breathe in our own little area, but we were still like locked in. But yeah, it got hot at one point because, I mean, at the end of the day, like past Aaron's and Eric's banner there, you got maybe another 4 inches before it's the ceiling. Like it was like, those are like 10-foot ceilings at best at maybe 12, So obviously ventilation was kind of crap. I think they maybe should have opened the garage door on the side, but then that leads to like people sneaking in. So that's a whole other conversation. But definitely LA won't have that problem. LA is a huge location, great ventilation, fantastic weather. So I'm sure that one will be fine. And for sure, they're going to have to look into a new location for Chicago, which is a shame. I really hope that it's something that's still near the airport. The one good thing with Chicago is the ease of transport. You literally just get off the plane, you get on the bus, and that bus takes you there for free in 15 minutes, and you're good to go. So hopefully there'll be a good location that replaces it, but time will tell. That's not something that'll be discussed anytime soon because the next East Coast show will be Orlando. So we'll worry about that when that comes. Michael Koo, when they had Peter Cullen as a guest in Chicago, there was about half a number of people going that year. Yeah, that's what's crazy. That's what's crazy is that, like, for some reason, this year was like balls to the wall. Maybe because it was coming off of Transformers 1 and that built a little bit of a new hardcore audience. Who knows? But there was just a ton of fans this year. It was an insane turnout. And, for a year that wasn't even a movie year, which is kind of silly when you think about it. So great stuff, though. Great stuff. The wall for our booth was packed like it was a tuna can. Oh, yeah. Well, Cringe McCringle's booth was... it was the same problem like me and Aaron's booth. It's like too much stuff, not enough space. Too much stuff, not enough space. Let's put it that way. We just packed as much as we could and just tried to make the best of it. Still, 3-1. 3-1 Blue Jays. Still ahead, though. Still ahead. Still at it. But yeah, it's something where, definitely Colin's going to look into it. But it's something that you might not even have to worry about that for another like year and a half or something. Like it's going to be a while before that even has to be something to think about. Because Orlando's location was really good. And again, the LA location is huge. So, I mean, short of us getting like 3 times what we had in Chicago, which is a possibility, Orlando will be just fine. Chicago will find a new location, and LA is going to be just fine. And Toronto is always kind of Toronto. Toronto's Toronto, so we never have to worry about Toronto. It always is consistent. Um, what's here? Patriot Prime was talking about getting whacked with Starscream's wings all the weekend. Well, that's cosplay. That's the thing is that cosplay is always will be kind of hard to navigate. As someone who goes to San Diego Comic Con, you'll have someone that has a gigantic, crazy like Hulk cosplay, and then because that person walks like this, and then everyone's stuck behind them because it's a giant cosplay. That's like a clog in the sink, you know. That's a clog in the sink. So then everything gets screwed over. And it's impressive cosplay, though. Don't get me wrong. When you see like a Transformers Prime Starscream that looks like animation model perfect, can't argue with that. That's really cool and dedication. But at the same time, it also bottlenecks the panel room, not the panel room, the dealer room. And the problem is that, and it's not an insult to cosplayers, but if you have to walk around, probably don't go into the panel room because it's, you know, it's where business is getting done. And unless you could find an area that's really like open ended, it's going to be a mess. And especially, you worked on your cosplay really hard. The last thing you want is you accidentally trip on somebody, you fall over, more people walk on you, they crush your wings that you worked so hard on. You don't want that. You don't want that. Toronto is Toronto. Ain't that the truth? Rudy Mac. Media Max, Proto, are you keeping up with the Energon universe? I had just bought a bunch of trade paperbacks, only read the Cobra Commander ones thus far. I have been keeping up with Void Rivals, some of the Duke, like they did the Duke side series books. I had those. I was actually buying the singles of those. The Void Rivals, I was buying the singles. The Transformers, I was buying the singles. The G.I. Joe ones, I have not bought the singles. I'm going to wait for a trade. And I haven't bought trades of any of the others yet. I'll probably get a trade of the Void Rivals ones for obvious biased reasons of a flame-chested character. But I've been keeping up right up to the latest issues of everything. I'm just behind on Joe. That's the only one. The Duke miniseries, because they started with that first, I was up to date on that, but then I just kind of focused my stuff elsewhere. Not enough Dusty, in my opinion. That's the primary reason. If you told me like, oh, the book is all about Dusty. Oh, Dusty's like the main character, and then I'd be tuning in a little more. But yeah. But yeah, there's a few of the trades out. They're not completely caught up yet with the trade paperbacks, but they're, I believe, I think they have like up to issue 18 now in trades, if I remember correctly. I think that's right. Michael Koo, by the way, Skybound TF coming in Volume 2 is out. Yeah. I'm still waiting for my Kickstarter one. I was talking to Bob Budiansky about that because he had to like sign a bunch of like trading cards. You probably saw it at his booth if you were there. He had some of the trading cards and stuff. But I'm still waiting for that big crazy thing with all that cool shockwave stuff and everything. All looks good. It all looks good. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything else. Hope I didn't forget anything else. There's just so much stuff. Dusty is not a trader. He only was in two parts of an episode called Trader, and he was absolutely badass in the comics and was never a traitor in that. And he's one of the few OG G.I. Joe characters that never died in any iteration. So Dusty is awesome. I love Dusty. But yeah, a lot of other crazy stuff. Trying to think of what else. Let me see my phone. Did I take any other good photos? Unfortunately, didn't take as many photos as I had hoped. Just so busy. So busy. So very busy. Let me see. Nope. Oh, that was Ian. He went to another toy show. California Raisins. Cecil, $225. The carrot. Woo boy. My wife collects those. That is way too expensive. There it is. There's the big Battle Beast cat. There you go. I think I have some other shots. It's Butters in power armor. Look at that fluffy tail. There you go. That was from the TFW thing. Didn't take much other photos. Some guy did a upgrade head for your Optimal Optimus if you wanted Garfield on it. Get your obvious plant joke. That's a meme image. Not much else. And then had some good Chinese food with the boys at one point. That's about it. That was about it because the lunch was garbage at TFcon. So I went to the fashion district and got some Chinese food. But yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Oh, well, people saw the trick or treater on my socials. I posted it there. But for people that didn't see on socials, if you don't have Twitter, let me get that one out. So many photos that I took after that. There you go. Little kid came by with his Bumblebee outfit. So the story with this was I was wearing a Bumblebee outfit. He was wearing an Optimus Prime outfit last year. So he came back this year as Bumblebee and I was wearing Optimus. So he took a nice little photo. His mom took the photo for us. One of my neighbors. Very cool. Very cute little kid. Loves his Transformers. I swear he's got to be like 7 years old. He loves the Michael Bay movies. So it always works. It always works. Horned Owl, I love that obvious plant. Yeah, and that guy was selling those heads too, eh? He was selling them. I think he was asking like $15 each or something. It was out of a room party. So if you have a spare Optimal Optimus and you want and you hate Mondays, let me get that one. Let me zoom in on it. Hey John, why did Megatron steal the Matrix from Optimus Prime? Yeah. So very cool. That was a guy, I think he was on the same floor as us even. A lot of cool stuff. Again, I can't stress this enough to people. Like I was saying it before the show, you could spend a lot of money on your hobby. You could spend a lot of money on food. You could spend a lot of money on a lot of things, but memories and experiences you can't buy. And every year that passes, that's 3 TFcons you could have gone to. I'm not saying to go to all 3, but there's always an opportunity. It used to be back in the day, FOCCON. I remember it would always be, why aren't you near where I live? Well, TFcon now is boom, boom, boom. It's like a triangle. North, east, west. North, east, west. North, east, west. There's always an opportunity. Pick one. One of them is going to be affordable. Trust me, if you could buy a $150 Commander class, Titan class, or $200 Titan class, or $100 Commander class, you could put a little bit of money aside and be able to go to a TFcon and not have to say, well, I'm only going to go if it's a 10-minute walk from my house. Then you're going to probably spend your whole life never going to TFcon. I would have never gone to a BotCon if I had that mentality. The closest Transformer convention ever to my house was 6 hours away by car, and that was TFcon Toronto. After that, it's 13 hours or more. And at that point, I'm just flying, and I'm crossing borders and I'm paying duty and I'm worrying about all that stuff, and it's always more expensive. And I was working at Burger King, but I was saving up. Put $50 aside, put $50 aside, put $50 aside. After you do that for a year, you got more than enough money to do that show. Self-control and finance. You'll be able to do it. But yeah, don't miss out on that, man. Ashnut, I want that Dusty Cobra Trooper. Oh, dude, I would love that. Just like Dusty without like his headgear and stuff with the Cobra Trooper outfit. I'd buy that. How come that's never been made? That's true, eh? That'd be such an easy slam dunk. And the Trader Part 1 and 2 is always a celebrated episode. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Fawnheart 2000, I hope I'm up for going to some parties in TFCon Orlando next year. Well, again, Orlando is hype. the way they do the parts parties there is very unique. It's really fun. So it'll be awesome. Michael Koo might be going to Toronto in 2026. Well, the good thing with Toronto is it's cheap. The warning that I give people with Toronto, so anyone who was at Chicago, Toronto is half the size of that. Toronto is more than half the attendance. Toronto is half the guests. But Toronto is also half the cost. So it all balances out. Everything is way cheaper. So it is what it is. You go to Toronto if you want to have a good time socially. You don't go there for the transformer aspect. You go for the people and the stuff like that. Clyde says, BotCon 08 was a 10-hour drive for me. Yeah, I drove to that. Which one was that? That was the Shattered Glass year, right? Which one was that? Yeah, that was, I'm trying to, because I have all the box sets, so I just read the side of the box. That was Shattered Glass. Why doesn't it say where it was on the box? Was that Cincinnati? I think it was. I just remember that was like a 13-hour drive. Again, Goober, me some. We were crazy back then. We just get in a car and just go, where are we going? Oh, BotCon's here now, and we just drive. And what we would do is if it would get past like if it would get past like 8, 9, 10 hours, we'd stop. We'd go to like a crappy motel that was like $10 for a night. We'd split it 3 ways, so it's like $3 a person. We just sleep in that crappy hotel just for that moment, just to sleep, and then we'd wake up and get going again. We were nuts. Yeah, it was Cincinnati. That's why I remember it was drivable. And when I mean drivable, I mean 13 hours. And that one, we actually did have a hotel. I roomed with, who did I room with? I roomed with Goober, Meesum, and one of the TFW guys. I forget who that we roomed with. But yeah, good times, good times. Horned Owl Proto, do you have to pay duty on all the stuff you bring back from TFcon? So the rule is with Canada is, and it's the same thing for you going back. It's both ways. If you go to Toronto and you come back, if you cross the border and you come back right away within 24 hours, right? Like if you come back in 23 hours, 22 hours, you have to pay 100% of the duty on whatever you have. So if this Megatron toy you bought, and by the way, you have to keep all your receipts. So like, oh, like here's the receipts and everything. That's why if you buy used, it's a little more of a gray area. But this is, you get duty on it. Now, here's where it's good because you're doing conventions. If you stay more than 24 hours, you get $100 duty free. If you stay more than 48 hours, it's $300 duty free. If you stay more than 72 hours, it's $800 duty free. Now, here's the thing. When you go to cons, yeah, sure, we're all spending more than $800. But at that point, because you spent 72 hours there, they don't care. They don't. And they don't know that this is $14. This could be $5 to them. So if you go to a TFcon or a BotCon, chances are you're spending more than 72 hours there, sometimes even more. So you're good. You're covered pretty much. There's nothing to worry about. So that's where everything is A-OK. And the logic for that, the reason why they do that is because their logic is if you're staying 24 hours, you got a hotel room, you got food, you spent money in our country. If you only go for the day, that's different. Imagine I cross the border just to do groceries and come back, right? Oh, groceries are cheaper in the United States. Oh, I could get my paydays. I could get my extremely unhealthy muddy buddies, Like, if you cross the border and go back right away, they know, oh, you're just going there to just get stuff and come back. We're going to make you pay duty. That's kind of the general logic of it. Or if you're there 72 hours, they know, like, you got a hotel, you obviously went to restaurants, you put money back into our economy in more ways than one. So that's kind of the incentive with duty, is to get people to spend money in the country instead of just going there quickly, getting what you need and leaving, which a lot of people are guilty of. I know I used to do it all the time. Oh, I need to get like some cheap, unique, exclusives that are only available in Plattsburgh, New York. Leave my house, 45-minute drive, cross the border, get those exclusives, come back. Ooh, get hit with duty. It happens. But if I bought it off of eBay plus shipping, it would have been more expensive. So you deal with the good with the bad. There's a Flint Cobra Trooper. Well, I could do a head. The good thing with Joe is you could unscrew the head and change everything. So I could put a Dusty head on it. T-Formers 2002. Toronto is more of a social show. I agree with that. T-Formers 110%. True dat, Dylan. What did Dylan say? Toronto has the ninja panel. Indeed, it does. And there's going to be new ninjas to add to that. Twins Corner. Let's put the Twins up while I read this question. Let me get the Twins. Where's the Twins? Where is the Twins? There's the Twins. Let's read the question while. Hey, Proto, random question. Any new info on TF crossover G.I. Joe Optimus Mobat figure? Freaking awesome live stream tonight. Thank you, sir. No, you know what's weird? So all of the crossover stuff with Hasbro is done through Hasbro West Coast. It's not even done through the East Coast team at Rhode Island. So a lot of that stuff, I don't know what's going on. Those are it's the same thing with all the other crossover stuff. It's all up in the air. It's a little bit of Takara influence and a lot of West Coast influence. And what is West Coast? West Coast is these guys. West Coast is these guys. West Coast is these guys. A lot of the Cyber World stuff. What else is West Coast? Trying to think of a few others. It's a lot of the more, bots. It's a lot of the more media-centric stuff a little bit. So I'm not familiar with those people. I'm not on that side of the continent. So it's kind of my own thing. I don't know. It's true. Let's do sponsors. Thank you, James. Let's do some sponsors. We got so wrapped up today with, thank you for the super chat, by the way, Twins. Got so wrapped up with everything. So let's talk about Symbiote Studios, who are going to be at TFcon LA. So once again, Symbiote Studios, your plush, your pins, your t-shirts. I'm rocking their Starscream shirt and sweater. Rocking that. Rocking out. So Symbiote Studios, plush, pins, and t-shirts. A lot more to come. By the time LA rolls around, you are going to have all of these guys, all the oversized plushes are going to be available. You're going to have all the Dinobots will be released. They will be debuting at TFcon LA. Oh my goodness. Those guys are going to sell out so fast. At San Diego, it was ridiculous. Where is he? This G2 Snarl, let me tell you, didn't stand a chance. I was like, okay, it's niche. The black face, the emblem, the G2 emblem, the red eyes. It's niche. Some people, nope, gone, sold out. Didn't stand a chance. So we're going to have the regular version. We're going to have all the other guys. Swoop is going to be making his debut in LA. We're going to have the Laserbeak shoulder sitters. We're going to have all of that stuff. It is going to be absolute madness. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, we're still like 4 or 5 months away, so we still got plenty of time. But we'll keep you posted on it as the weeks continue and more information leads out. Very good stuff. And of course, their My Little Pony stuff. They'd have tons of My Little Pony stuff. So if you're a pony, you're a brony, you're a clopper. I guess you're a clopper. I don't know. If you know what clopping is, I apologize. You got tons of My Little Pony stuff, tons of video game franchise stuff, especially the Cassette Beast stuff, which is really cool. Cassette Beast is a really good game. That's on the Nintendo Switch. Played that for a bit. Check them out, yo. Check them out. Rudy Mack, you two look alike. Well, they are twins. Wish BotBots continued. Michael, I wish BotBots continued because no joke, I would have had a voice acting credit if BotBots continued. Because I talked with Mr. here, I keep him on the voice of Starlight on BotBots, aka Word Burglar, is a friend of mine from Toronto who voiced him. And he told me, he's like, dude, let me know next time if they ask me to come back, we'll get you in and you could be the voice of Puxley. I will be the hockey puck transformer with a Canadian accent, eh? Oh boy, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna do well here, eh? This is really bad. You know, I'll just be Puxley the hockey puck with the missing tooth and the hockey stick. And Proto Man will have his first ever voice credit as a Transformer. If season 2 would have happened, Puxley was in the background, no voice. Que sera, que sera. Whatever will be, will be. You know? I guess I'll just have to work on Mega Man comics for now. But yeah, trust me, I would love it if BotBots had a season 2. I liked it too. They were fun toys, unique designs. You know? You got to be a hoser. Exactly. And I'm born and raised in the greatest hockey city in the world of Montreal. Would have been great. Would have been absolutely, unless they want a French Canadian accent. I could have done a French Canadian accent too. I do not know what we could do here. James Hopkins, I have a 4-year-old daughter, so I know a few ponies. Oh, you got to know the ponies, man. You got to know the ponies. You got to know the ponies. It's all about the ponies. Yeah, that cliffhanger ending was a twist, all right. It ties it that, oh, all this time, BotBots is part of the movie universe. Ooh, which is crazy. When does your next Mega Man comic come out? Actually, good question. Let me just, Michael, I'll cover the super chat, excuse me, the sponsors just for Aaron. And then I actually have a slide for that because I actually prepared that, but I was going to use it for next week, but might as well show it today too. So again, the Toy Armada. So Aaron right now is updating his web store. As I warned you guys, everything you see here, most of it is gone now. Most of it got eaten up at TFcon. So if you missed out, I gave the warning. If you don't pick up stuff, it's going to be gone because people are going to get it at the show. So Aaron is updating his web store right now. There is going to be a bunch of new Posca paintings added. There's very little left. I think there's like 9 or 10 or 12 Posca paintings left. Originally, there was like 37. So most of them are gone. I know that the Thunderblast is gone. The Wolverine is gone. I think the Hot Shot is gone. There's a lot of them that are gone. That Sideways is gone. They all got eaten up. They were all too good, as they should. So, but yeah. So there's that. So check that out. archermonster.com/shop. If you go there right now, it's not completely updated. I would suggest go to it, bookmark it, come back to it maybe in a week. I'll remind you next week with the live stream. It'll be updated with new product. Oh, T-Formers, you got the Thunderblast. Very good. There you go. Well, that's why, like, so many people just got everything. Like, within, no joke, probably within, like, the first 2 hours, I think Aaron made, like, $1,000. Like, no joke. I don't want to say how much a man makes, but I think he easily made $1,000 in the first hour. Like, he did very well. And that's why I warned people. I'm like, look, before the show starts, if there's something that you wanted, I heavily suggest you buy it from the store because once it goes to Chicago, it's going to get bought. It's going to get bought. And it did. Yeah. Yeah. Like, where's the photo of the booth? 1 second. Like, you know, all of that stuff was gone very quickly, and I can't stress it enough. Like the toys, everything, poof, gone. Absolutely gone. So Michael Koo got the Transmetal Megatron. Very cool. That one was really nice, that one, Michael. That one was really cool. So to answer Michael Koo's question, so here's the new slide. So my next Mega Man comic book is going to be Mega Man X issue number 0. So we are doing a special 90s special issue number 0, a prequel story. It's going to have a special guest artist. Chamba is going to be joining us. He comes from the Street Fighter fame of the Street Fighter books. And he's going to be doing this one with me. Afterwards, Hanzo from Japan will be taking care of the rest of the art duties. To get an idea of Chamba's art style, maybe I could zoom these in for you. So Hanzo is the one on the left, which is very much more the anime style, and that's what a majority of the ongoing series is going to be. Chamba is this one here. That's his style. A little more Western, a little more shadowy. So Chamba is going to be doing a one-shot with me. Let me just fix this. There we go. And that's going to be January of 2026. It's going to have multiple covers, not just the ones you see here. We have a bunch of covers planned. Oh my goodness. You're going to have plenty of choices of which cover you want. So you got on the left there, you got the Hanzo cover. The second one from the left is the Chamba cover. Then you got the Edwin Huang cover there where he's fighting the Busby from the highway stage. Then you got a very JoJo's Bizarre Adventure cover. That was from Sutherland, did that cover. And then there's many more to come. Many more to come. Many, many more to come. So all of those are on their way. That's going to be January 2026. And then in February, if all goes well, February of 2026 will be issue number 1 of the ongoing series, and then issue number 2, 3. By the time we get to TFcon LA, we'll probably have 4 issues under our belt. And by the time we get to San Diego Comic-Con or TFcon Toronto, let's just say there's going to be a lot of cool stuff announced. Let's just say a lot of cool, a lot of awesome stuff going on behind the scenes. So stay tuned for that. So, oh yeah, Chamba's awesome. Chamba's really cool. It's a shame that he'll never really be at the USA shows. He's kind of outside of the United States, but I'd like it if he came down for at least a San Diego. Same thing with Hanzo. Hanzo's in Japan, and it's man, come on down. Come down to San Diego, man. Because Edwin's always at San Diego, and he does just fine. I always want my artist buddies to do well, Always want them to do good. So that's going to be happening. So stay tuned for that. I'll keep you guys posted on what's going on with my Mega Man stuff. I was very, very, very happy with the turnout of people that came to a Transformer convention to buy Mega Man comic books. Even Aaron turned to me and said, oh, that Mega Man thing's doing well for you. And it's it really is. It really is. Kabuto 79. So in comic book artistry, when an artist is credited with breakdowns instead of pencils, what is the difference? Well, so here's how it goes. It really depends on the artist because, to give an example, so Edwin, he does everything digitally, and he does pencils, inks, and that's it. Breakdowns, different person. Colors, different person. In that case, it was Josh Perez. Letterers, different person. In that case, that was Marshall. So it's very different. Then let's use this book here. So now this one here, this is with Chamba. Chamba does his own coloring. He does his own breakdowns. He does his own penciling. He does his own inking. And everything also is digitally with him. He uses a digital Cintiq to do everything. So it's all one. And it's credited all as one. That's how it is. I guess Marshall's going to do the lettering. I don't know who did the lettering on this one. I have to look up that one. But and I write. I'm always the writer credit for it. For all of that stuff. He's been to Fan Expo. Really? Interesting. Because usually Udon doesn't do Fan Expo. I think they skipped the last one. Very interesting. Okay. Well, I'd like to meet him. I like to meet the guys that I work with instead of just, texting and sending references. Yeah, you got to make it look like this. You got to make it look like that, Here's to give an example for when I was working with Hanzo, I literally showed, I wanted to show how X would go through Storm Eagle's level. So I literally played the game, recorded it, and I wanted to show him the path that X would take for the beginning of Storm Eagle's level, because it was very, very narrative driven with that, because I have a lot of ways that I go about revamping the story and making it make sense. Because I always say, you have game logic and then you have storytelling logic, and game logic sometimes doesn't always work with storytelling. So I kind of had to fit that in there. But yeah, so it's something where breakdowns, it really see in the case Michael, it depends who you work with. So give an example. I worked with Alex Milne, right? Alex Milne is so good at understanding your descriptions that you don't need breakdowns ever. Because me and Josh Perez, we're all tuned in on the same level of nerd wank when it comes to Transformers. I have never had to like give too many references ever, 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 ever. I think like the only time I had to give him a reference was like the colors for Minerva's alt mode or something. Like that was about it. Because Alex has all the books, he knows all the stuff. Very easy. But then other guys, sometimes they're not familiar with the brands. I don't want to name someone from the Transformer world that I worked with. He wasn't as familiar. So I don't want to make him look bad because it might cost him jobs. But he was someone I had to provide a lot of stuff. Provide a whole bunch of images and everything. Like, oh, the background should look like this. And blah, blah, blah. It's a whole other story. But yeah, it's whenever you're writing, depending on who you work with, depends on if you end up having to become a storyboarder or if you end up having to become, I call it a Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont, very famous X-Men writer throughout the years, mostly Uncanny X-Men. He was known for very descriptive, very descriptive. Even in the writing, like you would read his books, and instead of just seeing like Wolverine jumps down and slashes somebody, the text description would be like Logan jumps out of the shadows. The claws pop out of his knuckles. He clashes down like a wild beast, ripping away at the tendons and flesh of the Hellfire Club member. Blah, blah, blah. Like he'll go deep in, and that's the description for the comic. Like, let alone what is the description for the artist to do his thing. So it's almost like, you almost don't even need to do breakdowns for Chris Claremont. You just read what he's writing. Where like someone like a Frank Miller, it's show not tell, show it not tell. Same thing with Alan Moore, show not tell. Like let the art convey what's going on. You almost don't even, like, you can look at how a person's face is done. You can almost figure out how they're reacting to something. You don't have to have a thought bubble. You don't have to have a panel that says like, Scott Summers questions why he's looking at this character, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of has the face there, although Scott probably be a bad example because he can't see his eyes. But you know what I mean? Like a vast predatory bird, Mr. Tankies, Simon Furman, Simon Furman, Simon's, Simon's 50-50 on the description thing. Simon's more character. I guess maybe with the Night Beat stuff, it does have inner monologue, but that's because he's purposely like, he's doing Columbo and he's doing a lot of that inner monologue kind of stuff. But good stuff. End of the fifth, still 3-1 Blue Jays. Oh, there we go, Michael. Where are we going? Where are we going? Celebrate. T-Formers 2002, what's for dinner? Proto. We had a Vietnamese dish called com tom bi. Com means rice. Tom bi is a seasoned meat. It's kind of like a Vietnamese version of gyudon, which is a Japanese dish. So that's probably the best way to describe it. It's a minced meat that's kind of salted. Again, it's usually a beef that's minced and everything. It's then kind of cured, marinated, flavored, cooked very well. And then you put it on a white rice. And then because all the flavorings on the meat, it then transfers to the white rice. So it gives that more flavor. That's what we had today. Technically, at the beginning of the day, we had Jamaican patties because we had a craving for them. So we went out to eat and we passed by a Jamaican patty place. And I was like, I went to a black high school, so Jamaican patties was life. Chicken or beef, spicy or not spicy. You had to get a beef spicy patty. It's how it is, yo. So we had that for like lunch. It was good. Kabuto 79. How much input does Capcom give you guys on a book? Is there certain guidelines that you have to work within? Yes. Capcom is actually way more strict with visuals than they are story. I find that they'll actually send more notes for the visuals than they will actually for the storytelling. Where they'll be like, oh, the character has to look this certain way, or like this face is too fat, make it thinner. I know that they were very picky with the Street Fighter stuff. I always hear the stories of how like anyone who drew Chun-Li, they would be like counting the studs on her bracelets to make sure it's perfect and everything. That was the stories I'd always hear. But when it comes to Mega Man, they've been pretty good with me. I haven't gotten any like, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. But I also I also know what Inafune-san wants us to talk about and what he doesn't want us to talk about, meaning what do they want to save for a video game and what do they want to not save for a video game. So like if I'm going to tell a story that's like very heavy for a video game, they might want to sell that for $69.99 as a video game. So like stuff that happened in between, sequel stories. So I'm doing like these like unique one-shot stories in between the games or in between stuff where the stuff that moves the story forward like after Mega Man X8 or prequel stories before Mega Man X1, that's stuff that I'm sure they want to tell those stories because there's a bigger stage, voice acting, monetization, FMVs if they want to do it. So it's understandable when it comes to that stuff. And I know I have my own self-censorship to not go those routes. Have I already kind of touched a little bit on X's origin story up to this point? Yes, I have. It's been written, it's been approved, it's good. Origin stories of Vile. It's been written, it's been approved. So certain things I have been allowed to get away with. But they will step in when they do feel there's something wrong. But so far, it's only been visual. Like we drew certain characters and they're like, oh, could you change this? Could you change that? That's about it, really. So we've been very lucky with that. Where I heard the Street Fighter guys, it's a different story. Completely different story. Columbo, excuse me, but I have a couple more questions. And that's when you're busted. We're almost done. We're at the 2-hour mark. So we'll take Rudy Mac with his question. We're hoping to eat some Japanese tonight at the Rogers Center. Oh, nice. What are you going to go have? You're going to have a bento box. You're going to have sushi. You're going to have something fried, some delicious fried stuff. You're going to have something with fish. Japan is a cornucopia of flavors and choices. But that's awesome. Well, it looks like if Toronto wins tonight, it'll be worth celebrating with a good meal. So think about it. You beat the Japanese and then you eat the Japanese. So it'll be good stuff. But that's it more or less. We are done for tonight. Again, thank you for all the love and support and everyone that tuned in tonight and everyone who came to TFcon and said they loved the podcast. Man, did we have a bunch of people that came by and said that they love what we do. Like it was absolutely fantastic. All the love and support. And I just hope you guys show up for LA in March. We'll be there. I hope Aaron will be there. He's still figuring out his schedule and stuff and how that's going to go about. But yeah, man, great stuff. Thanks for all the love and support. If you want to continue supporting the podcast, again, we got that Patreon link down there. Come join us on the Patreon. That's usually the best way to join us. And Patreon gets you access to the Discord. It gets you access to getting your name in the end credit scrolls. If you missed out on TFcon exclusives, it gives you an opportunity to get that too. Although we're trying to work out stuff right now with shipping to the United States. There's some drama right now. We'll get into that at another time. But thank you all. Take care of yourself, your loved ones, your friends, and your families. It's a beautiful world out there with all kinds of cool stuff, with all kinds of cool people. Ignore all the drama and have yourself some Dots homemade pretzels. Brought to you by the Transformer Slag Podcast. That looks good. I'm out of here. Take care. And as always, roll out.